I think it's time to speak clearly and candidly about Sadiq Khan's warning, one I wholeheartedly share about the UK government's approach to international students. This is not a new debate. Khan's warning today is exactly the same warning that might have been offered to Theresa May when she was Home Secretary. She ignored it, and we've paid the price ever since. International students are among the most well-documented, highly regulated people in Britain. Every visa checked, every fee paid in full, every address recorded. They're easy pickings for a lazy Home Office obsessed with targets and statistics, a department that confuses deportation numbers with competence. It's an approach that masks inadequacy. The Home Office loves the theatre of control, and it's, of course, completely and utterly now inaccessible, where it can brandish tough numbers to the tabloids while ignoring the complexity of migration, the real economic cost, and the soft power advantage that we squander because they are so desperate to hide their inadequacy. Let's be frank. Wonderful expression. This is more of the same rubbish that we've seen since the early days of this century. Successive governments, successive Home Office ministers, starting with Blunkett actually, have learned nothing. Instead of embracing openness, they have targeted international students as the easy headline-grabbing scapegoat in the sure knowledge that these same students will return to finish their degrees, though now resentful, aware that they have been fleeced and abused by Great Britain. Once we sent out ambassadors, tiny ambassadors in these students who came here, learnt in our universities and our schools, and then went back and took what they'd learnt back home. Today, at best, we can hope for a bit of cash. We've become the worst type of shopkeeper, fleecing our paying guests and bad-mouthing them behind the counter in the smug assumption that they don't quite speak English. How wrong we are, and how right is Sadiq Khan in this instance. Khan himself put it powerfully in Accra, in Ghana, today, calling plans to charge universities a levy on international students an act of immense economic self-harm. He's absolutely correct. He said in his keynote speech, or he's going to say it, there are people at home who would believe we should pull up the drawbridge to international students or punish universities that choose to welcome people from around the world. Closing our country to global talent would be an act of immense economic self-harm, one that would slow down growth and leave working people in Britain worse off than before. The government's white paper proposes to introduce a levy on universities' income from foreign students up to 6% to help fund the higher education system. That's going to be a bit like the levy, the VAT levy on private schools, which is going to help raise money to pay for new teachers. No, it's gone off into housing. It might sound appealing to the Chancellor's balance sheet, but it will cost the sector £600 million or more and make us less competitive precisely when we need to be more competitive. The numbers speak for themselves. International students bring £12.5 billion to Britain's economy alone each year. Across the UK, it's £55 billion. So I say £12.5 billion to London's economy, £55 billion international across the country. Communities in every corner of the country benefit. Universities rely on these students to subsidise underfunded domestic places and sustain research excellence. These students don't just bring money, they bring talent, culture, new ideas, collaboration, and when they go home, they bring a bit of Britain with them. This is soft power in its purest form, and we should be expanding these links, not taxing them into retreat. Khan's trade mission to Ghana and Nigeria and South Africa makes the point sharply. Africa is the world's fastest urbanizing region. With the youngest and fastest growing population on Earth, it's rich with future partners and leaders, and the very idea that we would discourage these students from coming to Britain is absurd. Indeed, Khan used his visit to Imperial College's new Ghana hub to make the case for international students as partners, not customers to be fleeced. He reminds us that these students enrich not just our balance sheets, but our ideas and our moral standing in the world. And the government proposed changes would go beyond the levy. It also plans to cut the time graduates can stay after completing their studies from 2 years to 18 months, a pointless restriction that signals, we want your tuition money, but please leave as soon as possible. There's the door. It's short-sighted, it's economically harmful, it's morally small. As Khan says, on my watch, London will be as open as ever. We will not turn our back on trade and talent from around the world, but instead face forward, reaching out and deepening our partnerships and friendships in every direction. He's right to frame this as a clash of visions. One vision is of Britain as a cramped, anxious island obsessed with controlling numbers for the Daily Mail's approval. The other is of a confident country that attracts, welcomes, and harnesses global talent. And we know which model works. The problem is not immigration, it's the failure of governments to plan for it, to build the housing, the infrastructure, and services that make integration successful. But instead of solving these problems, the Home Office reaches for the easy solution: pick on the students, because they're easy to track, they make good statistics, because they have no vote, because they're easy to penalise, because they are polite and often grateful, and they expect not to complain. Well, they do notice, they do complain, and when they return home, they will remember how they were treated by this government, that government, by Britain. If we're not careful, our universities will lose their reputation for openness. Other countries, Canada, Australia, the US, even the US, are waiting to poach this talent. Meanwhile, we have spent years gutting our own advantage. In the past, our universities were the envy of the world. They were the diplomatic outposts of Britain. Their graduates were Britain's best ambassadors. But a government that taxes students, shortens visas, and sends the message that they are not wanted will not produce goodwill. It will produce resentment. That is why Sadiq Khan's intervention matters. It's not only an economic argument, though that is clear. It's not only a cultural argument, though that is compelling. It is at bottom an argument about what sort of country we want to be. A country open to ideas, to talent, to people, or one closed, small, and poorer in every sense of the word. Let's hope that the government listens this time. And let's hope the word gets across. We need to be bigger. We need to be better. We need to be better in every sense of that word as well. And I don't think that's the direction we're going, unfortunately.